You do it, I do it, we all do it, but we don't talk about it enough. Let's talk about handing off knives and knife etiquette. So there's a lot out there. I did a quick internet search on knife etiquette and found such an array of different ways of doing things. So I thought I would present the way that I've done it in my life, the way I do it at our school, at Nature Reliance School, as well as some of the other things that I've seen here and there. Now, the last one I'm going to show you today, you've probably never seen before in the survival and bushcraft community. So hang loose for that one. You're going to want to watch it because it's kind of wacky. It's kind of wacky, but I think you'll understand after I explain it. In general, handing off knives is all about safety. And one of the things that's pretty general that is across the board is we want to keep the sharp side and the pointy side of the blade away from the person that we're handing it off to. And that's done a lot of different ways. So let's talk about it with a folder. And today I'm using the Woods Monkey friction folder. So check this out. Before I get started, please remember, in the comments below, tell us how you did it because I love hearing about how other people do things. But let's talk about a folder first. So the way I was taught by my father, who was taught by his father, is that if I hand you a folding knife and it's closed, you hand it back to me closed. And if I handle you a folding knife open, then you hand that folding knife back to me open. Now, let's talk about some fundamentals with a fixed blade knife. Obviously, you should utilize any knife that you own to utilize this type of practice and training with other people. Any of these LT Wright knives is going to work perfectly. I'm going to use the Shaman East because it's the knife that I designed and I love it and I use it pretty much on a daily basis. So let's talk about it. Remember, our focus here is on safety. And the danger here is the sharp side and the pointy side of the blade. So anytime I'm going to hand a knife off, I want to make sure that those are away from me and those are away from you as the receiver. So as I do this, I like to have a firm grip on the blade and hand it off in this manner so it's real visible and everybody can see everything that's dangerous. Now, here's what's important. As I hand this off to you, you're going to put your hand on it, and as you put your hand on it, I'm going to make sure that you say something of the nature of, I've got it, or thank you. And once I hear that, I let go.
I've got it.
I've seen a number of different ways because I've done combatives training for 30 years. And so we've done training with guns and knives and all sorts of things that require a fair amount of safety. So let's talk about some of the things that come along with that. One of the things that's come up in that environment is when you show humility towards someone, you actually turn the knife upside down and hold it in this manner with your hand on the blade as well as on the handle. So when somebody comes up and takes control of it, you have control of it, but you're showing humility because the sharp side is to you, not towards the person that's coming to get the blade. They come up, take control of the blade, and only then do you release it. Let's talk about a couple of safety issues when you're in a group of people. Now, the scouts have what they refer to as blood circle, and there's a lot of bushcraft communities that have basically intertwined that into their training, and it's really good. Meaning you hold your arms out and you swing. Anybody that you can touch is inside your quote unquote blood circle. And so anytime that somebody comes in that circle, if you're using a blade, you stop immediately. It's on you as the user to stop because some people that's walking through don't know necessarily that you're always utilizing a blade. So at Nature Reliance School, my school, we do this thing a little bit differently because sometimes we've got classes where we've got 30 people. Heck, I've taught U.S. military where I've got 100 soldiers in front of me that are utilizing knives and tools and axes and stuff like that. So we do something a little bit different. And that is, if we take a knife off our belt, out of a sheath, we take a sheath off of an axe or something, we pull it out and we're getting ready to use it, we say, tool in the air, and then everybody around us says,
Tool in the air.
that's because what we're doing is we're announcing basically to everybody, hey, I'm getting ready to utilize a knife, an axe, a saw, or whatever. And then everybody around us knows that. They repeat that. So everybody is aware and is more safe in the vicinity of someone utilizing a tool. Now, that does, at first, I'll be honest with you, it sounds a little bit silly and it's hard for people to get used to, but it has definitely made it a lot safer in camp where we're teaching a bushcraft class and everybody's using axes and saws and knives in a close proximity. We've got our blood circle so that nobody's in our vicinity, but we might be swinging an axe and everybody knows what's coming. Everybody knows what's going on, and it's a lot safer. Now, this last one is something that we used to do quite a bit in martial arts training. So let's go out here in the field and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're going to utilize this stick as a training tool, for example, and I'll tell you what this is born out of. And this is born out of repetition in training, where, you know, we might do something where we do gun disarms or knife disarms or something of that nature in training. And so what happens is, because there's a lot of repetition and you hand the tool back to somebody, you get in a habit of doing that. And then, hey, I've taken a gun away from somebody and then I hand it back in training. And if you do that, then you might hand that back in the real world after you've taken a gun or a knife from a bad guy. It's happened. It's very unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate, but it's happened where law enforcement, for example, takes a firearm and then hands it back because of training. So let me show you how we did this in the martial art that I did, because it accents the need to focus on, hey, let's not just hand it back over. All right, let's pretend for a moment that you and I are doing knife training, for example, and I've taken this knife from you. Instead of just handing it back, one of the things that we would do in training is we would literally look you in the eye, place it on the ground, and back up. You would then pick it up, and then we come back up and do a repetition with you holding a knife again. And again, the reason we're doing that is to not get in this repetition mindset of take a blade, fight somebody, whatever it is that you're going to do, and then just hand it back off. Another thing that comes up is the way I showed you before, where we held it upside down. All of it is basically reverential in showing the importance of the safety of the blade and making sure that we don't do things that are causing more damage or safety or problems for us in a training environment, so it doesn't relay over into the real world. So that's been some ideas for knife safety as far as handing things off, but here's the thing. Everybody does this differently for the most part. So I would love to hear from you in the comments below. How do you do it? What do you like about what I do? What do you not like about what I do? It doesn't matter if you agree with me or disagree. I love hearing how other people do things. So put them in the comments below. And as always, come on, join in. Let's learn together.